Hello everyone, this is Tim with Online Big Blue bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. Oh, it's the 4th of July. If you hear things going on outside, it's the fireworks. We shot off all of our fireworks as a family a little bit, and I thought I'd come in really quickly and do a video because I was thinking about something. I had a $1 million question the other day. And that $1 million question is, can Daniel Jones progress to the next level to help the New York Giants move forward? And you know what? It's an interesting question because Daniel Jones's rookie season was kind of it was a different tale per game. I mean, he did throw for over 3,000 yards, 24 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, was sacked 38 times, rushed for 44 times for 274 yards at 6.2 yards a carry with 2 touchdowns, but he had 17 fumbles, and out of those 17 fumbles, 10 were lost. And it got me thinking. This season, I'm predicting, of course, the Giants go to the playoffs, and I'm still sticking to that prediction. But the thing is, this is all predicated on the fact that Daniel Jones makes a leap in his career. And that's asking a lot of a second-year quarterback. There have been many second-year quarterbacks who have regressed most exponentially. And I think Daniel Jones, when he was drafted, yes, I said it before, I was not a huge Daniel Jones fan. I understood it. I wanted Josh Allen, but I understood that when you have an opportunity to get your guy, you take it. That's what happened with Mara and Phil Simms. Well, I shouldn't say Mara. I should say George Young and Phil Simms. That happened, of course, with Ernie Corsi and Eli Manning. And that's happening now with Dave Gettleman. Now, the latter two panned out extremely well. You know, we have, technically 4 Super Bowls between those two quarterbacks. Of course, Simmons was hurt in the 90 season after going, I believe, 10-1. And, of course, he did not get a chance to play. Hostetler came in, and the rest is Giant history. But the question is, and, of course, Eli with his 2 rings. But can Daniel make that jump? If you look at his season, starting from week 3 in Tampa, yes, he did complete 63% of his passes for 336 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, but was sacked 4 times and fumbled twice and lost 2 fumbles. That is, though, one of the best opening lines. And, of course, it was a 32-31 win over Tampa. We should have lost the game, but they missed a field goal. But like we always say, you win some games in the NFL, you should win, and you lose some that you should win, and, you win some, you should lose. But you know what? That was a great opening start. And everyone was so pumped because then we played Washington at home. And he still goes 23 for 31 for 225, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Again, he rushed for 5 times, 33 yards, did not fumble. You know what? And while he was not a key contributor to factor the game, I think the defense played extremely well. Of course, we had the whole Case Keenum, Dwayne Haskins fiasco. So, it wasn't until that he actually got into competition, which was Minnesota, New England. The Arizona game was just a debacle. We were at the Arizona game. We were at most of the home games. Well, we were there. That was just a bad game. But then he had Detroit, and then Dallas, the Jets, Chicago, Green Bay, and Philadelphia. He lost every one of those games. And if you take a look at it, again, if you go through the stretch, he threw 1 touchdown, 1 interception in Minnesota, 1 touchdown, 3. And I love when people go, why, the New England game was closer than it seems. 35-14 is not a close game. When you only complete 40% of your passes, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, and then, again, but it was good, though. He did not fumble. The Arizona game was just a bad game in the rain, so I give him that one. Detroit, he played well. We lost that game, 26-31. He did throw for 322 yards, 4 touchdowns, was sacked 3 times, did fumble, and did lose a fumble. But then, like I said, then we lost in Dallas. He had a mediocre game. The same, then he had a blowout game against the Jets, which we lost, 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. He fumbled 3 times, lost a fumble. And then, of course, we lost that Chicago debacle. And again, he only completed 58% of his passes, 150 yards, only 2 touchdowns. He was only sacked once, but again, he fumbled and he lost a fumble. Then we just got blown out by then we got blown out by Green Bay. And again, 240 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Again, he fumbled again. Of course, he got hurt, and he missed the Philly and the Miami game, but then he came in for the Washington win. But you know what? Everyone gets healthy against Washington. He had this 5-touchdown game, only fumbled once, but then he kind of slid back to earth a little bit against that Philadelphia game. He only completed 59% of his pass, of course, for 300 yards, but he threw a touchdown interception, and then he fumbled twice. If you take a look at his season, it's very up and down. I mean, he had the good game in Tampa, and then he goes 4 games before he has the good game in Detroit, has another bad game against Dallas, has a good game against the Jets and a loss, has an okay game in Chicago, but then has, another bad game, and then he's hurt for 2 games, has a good game, then has a bad game. There's not a lot of consistency there. And as a rookie quarterback, yes, he did take 38 sacks. He took 5, 0, 4, 1, 8, 3, 5, 6, 1, 1, and 4. And it's the same thing with Eli. Eli had the same problem his first couple of years. But the question is, and it's the big question, can Daniel Jones move to the next level? Can he look at his career, and if we compare it to some other giant quarterbacks who had other second year season, if you take a look at Eli Manning's season, that would be in 2005. He threw for 24 touchdowns, 17 interceptions, over 3,762 yards, completed only 52% of his passes. So, I mean, Eli, if you want to say Eli made a huge jump from his 2004 season, because he really didn't play until the final 7 games. If you want to say he made a jump, yeah, he did. He made an exponential jump, but also he was so bad in so many of those games. If anyone remembers the Baltimore fiasco, yikes. But we will say that Eli did play a lot better going into that second season. Now, if you even take a look at our old buddy, Phil Simms. I mean, Phil Simms came in on the 79 season, he had the 80 season. He only completed 48% of his passes, threw for 321 yards, 15 touchdowns, 19 interceptions on a really bad team. I think that is more comparable to Daniel Jones, but Phil Simms really had... Daniel Jones had a bad line. In 1980, Phil Simms had a horrid line. So if you compare it that way and look at it that way, it's you don't want him to see him go that way. And I'm sorry, he threw for 20. Daniel Jones, that is. I was actually reading something at the same time. I'm sorry, someone just sent me an email, and I'm gonna ignore that. But if you look at that, I mean, it's. I don't want it to be more comparable to Phil Simms, because Phil Simms was on a really bad team. He had a defense, though, Simms did, but he had no offense. I mean, when you have people like Ernest Gray and Johnny Perkins and Tom Mulledy as your wide receivers and your tight ends, you got problems. I mean, at least Jones has, I want to say, a complement of receivers, but he's got a good core receivers, a really good running back. I mean, a great running back. We hope he's going to be he's going to probably be a Hall of Fame running back. We hope, but he's got the talent. It's going to be up to Jason Garrett to help him progress. Now, Garrett, to me, is he a quarterback whisperer? Is he a guy that's good? I'm always worried, and I've said it before, I'm worried that Garrett's going to be one and done. That he's going to help improve the Giants' offense, help fix Daniel Jones' fumbling problems and sometimes decision-making problems, and then he's going to go try to get a head coaching job either in the NFL or in college. That's always my big concern about Jason Garrett. And then the question is, technically, Daniel Jones will be running his 3rd offense in 3 seasons going back to his last year at Duke. That's a lot to ask for a second-year quarterback, not only to mention the fact that we need to throw in the factor that he's going to also be without, live action in preseason and trying to implement and install a new offense. I mean, that's crazy in my mind. So there are so many different things that are currently stacked against Daniel Jones. So the question is, can he progress? I personally think he can progress. I think we've seen enough in his portfolio of talent to show that he has the ability to make the next level. Do I think he's going to be a top 10 quarterback? No. Do I think he could be anywhere in between 10 and 20? Yes. Daniel Jones's problem is, of course, the fumbling, And he has an issue some ways with holding on to the ball too long, but that's all rookie quarterbacks. He did have some decision-making issues, but that'll come with playing time and experience. His other biggest weakness was his blindside awareness. Eli had terrible blindside awareness. Eli, I think it was, what's his name, James Trotter, rocked Eli in that Eagles game. You know, when he first came in, because Eli didn't even feel him. He ran, didn't even feel him. He got rocked. And I remember him getting hit. I can't, forgive me if it's not the name of the player, but the linebacker, but I remember that clearly. And Daniel Jones is the same way. There's too many times I saw Daniel Jones sit in the pocket and not feel the rush behind him. And that, you have to hope, comes with experience. Because there are quarterbacks, like if you go back, way back to like Seattle, to like Rick Meyer. Rick Meyer out of Notre Dame, he had an okay rookie season. He was supposed to be this great quarterback. He was supposed to progress in year two. Year two, everyone in the league found out that he could not throw to his left, and he had no blindside awareness protection. He had no blindside awareness whatsoever. That dude got leveled so many times, it's not even funny. I remember way too many games watching Rick Meyer play. And when you saw him come out of Notre Dame, you're like, oh, this guy's the next Joe Montana. This guy's the next Golden Domer that's really gonna put Seattle back in the promised land. And that's what worries me about Daniel Jones. Can he pick up understanding and feeling and sensing the blindside presence? I personally think he can. I think that bringing in someone like Colt McCoy, I believe Cooper Rush is going to help him with the Jason Garrett system. So I can see him, and I've said it before, I could see him maybe throwing anywhere between 3,800 to 4,000 yards. I mean, I could possibly see him, 25 to 28 touchdowns. Maybe, hopefully decision making is a little bit better, because he had 1, 2, 3 multiple interception games. Even though he did only throw 12, there was a lot of picks that he should have had. And a lot of interceptions he should have had. We got lucky in a lot of plays. And if people sit there and go, well, no, that's not true. No, you go back and look at the film like we did. There are many plays that were either dropped or he just missed the read completely. But again, he was a rookie. But I can see him throwing between anywhere between 38 to 4,000 yards, maybe anywhere between 24 to 30 touchdowns. Hopefully he stays between 12 and 16 interceptions. Cleans up his play with the ball carry. The only thing that concerned me about his fumbling is a lot of his fumbles came because of lack of ball security, but also a couple of his fumbles came because he just fell on the ground wrong. And I've never seen a quarterback fall and try to fall on the ground and lose the ball as much as he did. But again, I could see him progressing. I could see him being coached well by Garrett, and hopefully Judge is going to stick to his word, be the CEO, oversee all this, and we're going to kind of just go from there. And again, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. If you can follow us on Twitter at Online Big Blue 1, or if you just want to drop us an email, you can send it to onlinebigbblue@gmail.com. We love hearing stories, and we love getting every types of ideas for videos, because, like I said, we're in the silly season, as we call it. But again, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. And as always, if you could if you could subscribe, if you could ring that bell, I think you know what that means. That would be awesome.